Yo, Tom Fiddzy here, and before we get into the Iron Man review, a quick disclaimer. This video is actually an older video. It was first created in March 2019 on my other YouTube channel, Higasim. But over time, that channel eventually became a place for One Piece. It's where all my One Piece reviews are. So if you like the One Piece manga, go check it out. I do reactions and reviews over there. And I've decided now it's time to move over my Marvel videos that were on that channel and bring them over here to the Tom Fiddzy channel, where I actually talk about movies and television shows. So, a bit of content synergy. So just a warning, this is a re-upload. It is an old video. It was one of my first ones that I've ever done on YouTube, and I'm going to be slowly bringing over all of those MCU reviews. So if you see the Higasin branding on this Tom Fiddzy channel, that is why. Okay, thank you very much and enjoy. Yo, Higasin here, and today I don't have the appropriate wristband because today we're talking Marvel. At the end of next month, Avengers Endgame comes out, and I'm so excited to see that. I can't wait to see the accumulation of years worth of films, starting with this film right here, Iron Man. I haven't got an actual individual case for this. So, Iron Man. Why are we talking about Iron Man? Because over the next month and a little bit longer, because there's a lot of films, I'm going to be reviewing every single one of these Marvel films and all of them that you can see up there. But starting off with the first one, 2008, Iron Man. So, Iron Man. I've been trying to film this as like an actual proper review, but I think I'm just going to take it easy. I'm just going to lay out my thoughts on the film and stuff that happened in the film, what overall I think about it. No real structure to it, because, if you haven't seen this film and you're looking for an actual review, what are you doing here? The film's been out for years. This is a lead up to Avengers Endgame. So I'm just going to put my thoughts out for each of these films and stuff that happens in it. So Iron Man. Beginning, loved it. That intro scene where he's in the Jeep, he's got his glass of whiskey, they're in the middle of the desert, but he's got his glass of whiskey there still. All of the soldiers are nervous, then, like that, he's got them all at ease, they're all laughing, they're all having jokes. It's the perfect intro to his character. At that point there, you learn so much about him and who he is, and it's just a brilliant intro to the film. Even me, I didn't really know a lot about Iron Man, I didn't really know a lot about Tony Stark going into the film. Way back when I first saw the film, all them years ago, you just learn so much. You just get captivated into the film in that one initial scene, and all of the other character intros in this film, they're all as well so spot on and perfect. Each time you meet one of the new major players in the film, obviously you got Rhodey, who will later become War Machine, is a completely different actor, and that does throw you off a little bit when you're going back from where we are today and looking back at Iron Man. You're a little bit like, oh, this isn't the same guy. But for this film, he's still really good, portrayed really well. I enjoy his character, but it does still leave that kind of like little sour note where you're just like, yeah, but you're not the Rhodey now that I know. So that does throw you off. But everybody else, Pepper Potts and Tony Stark in particular, their introductions are really good. When you first see Pepper, the banter between them, where she's trying to get him to go onto the plane and bossing him around, and then he's subtly just bringing up about art and like, well, what do you think, Pepper? Do you think I should buy this art? And she's like, no, I wouldn't buy it personally. I think it's overpriced. You could just see a great little dynamic between them that really sets up the fact that that they have a professional relationship, but they both really know each other, and there's probably more there to it, but they are sticking to that professional relationship, and you can tell that Tony needs her. She doesn't really need him, but she likes working for him and being with him, and you can just tell that just from that first few interactions in that film, you already got that in place and now down, and obviously you get to see that bloom throughout the rest of the MCU films. And then you also got Obadiah, the main bad guy, Obadiah Stane, or Obi. His first introduction, you see it in like this thing that's talking about Tony Stark, like this videoette that's telling about the history, how Tony inherited the company from his dad, and from a really early age became CEO, but before that, this guy was in charge, and it just cuts to him, and you see his face, and you can tell that he's pretending to be happy about it, but you know that deep down, he isn't happy about the fact that Tony's in charge. And you just get that in that one glance. And again, you already know what his character's going to be. I think that's brilliant. So at the start of the film as well, Tony gets captured by this militia group who are using his own weapons, and they want him to build this more advanced missile system that his company has come up with. Why a CEO would actually know exactly how the machine would work, I don't know, but luckily, this is Tony Stark and he does. So Tony sets to work building this missile system for them, against his will, obviously, but he's not actually doing that. What he's doing is he's building his suit so that he can escape. I do always question about the fact that he's in this cave, he's making this suit, and he also makes the arc reactor as well. That's in his chest. I mean, someone made it for him before. The guy that's in the cave with him, this like doctor guy who's in like this really nice business suit, and I really like how the cave is really mucky, but he's always looks so nice and fresh in his suit. They got a really great little dynamic there as well. I really like their scenes together. But originally he puts the arc reactor in Tony because he gets shrapnel that's going into his heart, and this arc reactor, this magnet keeps it from. No, it's not an arc reactor at first, but this magnet keeps the shrapnel from going in his heart. And then Tony obviously remakes it as an arc reactor as well, which he then uses to power the suit that he's making. I always think it's weird though how this militia group is always checking in on him. They're always looking through the door like, yeah, he's working, but they never actually go in and check what he's actually building. Or when they do, they just like look at the paperwork. Sure, Tony's smart enough to make it look like he's not building a suit, even the way he's done all of the bits of paper. But it's still a little bit like, why are they not actually checking to see if there's any missile components anywhere? They have loads of missiles out the back. Surely they know what missiles look like, and they're going in there and they see him got leg braces and like helmets and bits like that. And all of the stuff, the equipment that he's asking for as well. It's like, do you need that to make a missile? But whatever, it's just part of the film. But it's still a really enjoyable scene. I love this first like 20 minutes, half an hour of him first building the suit, first using it, getting out of the cave, and then that's where his character switches. So even though we only got to spend a little bit of time with the original kind of Tony Stark, the guy who was the CEO of the weapons company, we get to see him at that point where he switches to becoming, look, I don't want to be a weapons dealer anymore. And he becomes the Tony Stark that we know from the later films, where he starts to set up more of, look, I want to help people, I want to protect the world, okay, he's still making weapons of mass destruction because he's making all these Iron Man suits, but he's doing it more for an overall defense purposes of keeping peace. And we get to see that moment here in this film where he switches. And of course, there's one person that doesn't like that switch, and that is Obadiah. And this is where we really start seeing that he is actually the villain of the piece. First of all, you think it's going to be these militia people, but no, it's him. And I love his character in this film. You know, Marvel always gets hated on for their villains, but I think he's probably one of the better villains because he's just so cruel and manipulative in his like CEO businessman ways. You know, the way he's talking to Tony at the beginning, like I say, when you see him and he's like smiling, he's happy and he's clapping, but you can just tell in his eyes that he's not. He's thinking up other things. He hates it. He hates that he has to put on this facade. And you really start to see he's like friendly and nice to Tony. And then whenever Tony lets his defense down, he's like, look, I don't want you in this company anymore. I'm pushing you out. And then as the film goes on, you find out he put the hit on Tony and everything. And it's just like almost near the end of the film, he just switches from this like kind of, oh yeah, I'm the cool businessman, to just this guy in a lab with this poor little scientist. And he's just like speaking calmly. And then he's like, Tony made it in a cave with a box of scraps. And it's just like, whoa, that is a sudden change. And after that, he just goes batshit crazy. And I don't know what it is that triggers it, but I love it. It's so much fun just to watch him go from this, oh, I'd love this guy to be my boss, to this mad box of scraps guy. And he makes this suit and he's on the street in the suit throwing stuff around. And okay, it's a little bit cheesy, but it's great fun. And this whole film in general is it's just great fun. You know, uh, okay, it's an origin story. You know, we have to get into all of these characters. It's starting to set up a great big universe. But even going back, it's still an origin story that's just fun and just enjoyable. You know, a lot of origin stories are kind of you watch it, you get to know the character. The sequels comes out, and that's where you really start to have fun with them. You kind of forget about the origin stories, you know. But this is probably one of the ones where I go back and really enjoy watching it. Sure, at the end you get this Iron Man versus another Iron Man fight, and that's a little bit cliche, or at least it is now. Maybe, but because this is the first one, so I'm kind of going to let them off. You can't have Tony build a Iron Man suit and then all of a sudden he's fighting Skrull and Thanos in the first film. So for what it is, it's good. But speaking of that overall fight, obviously, we find out then that Obadiah has made his own Iron Man suit, and then this is where he is proper batshit crazy, and he's puts on the suit and he's running around on the streets with Tony because Tony's trying to stop him. He's picking up cars and he's throwing them. Oh, it's probably the weakest part of the film. It's still enjoyable. It's still good fun, but I did prefer the earlier stuff. I preferred the the bit in the cave, the bit where we were learning about Tony Stark, the bit where we were watching him make the suit and stuff, which in itself is a little bit. Sometimes I'm watching it, I'm like, did he always have all of this equipment in his basement? Like, there's a scene where he steps on this mat and the floor opens up and it puts his shoes on, and then arms come down from the ceiling and put his shoulder pads on and stuff. And it's like, were they always there, or did he? Because surely this thing designed to put his feet on has to be designed for the suit, right? So did he make that as well? Did he make? How long has he been making all this? He must have had some serious work done to get the floor opened up and get the things for the put his shoes on and stuff in. But again, it's a comic book film. Let's ignore the finer details. That's just my over analytical brain going at it. But yeah, we also find out that Obadiah has his own suit as well. Well, I'm just rambling. Well, whatever. The character stuff is what I really enjoyed. This final fight wasn't as good. I wasn't as invested as I say, but like I was saying, Obadiah is picking up cars, he's throwing them around. This is where his character is completely switched, and he's starts delivering off these quite cheesy lines that feel a little bit out of place as well. There's one scene where he picks up Tony Stark and he's like, I've been holding you up for 30 years, and he throws him on the ground and he's like, it's collateral damage, Tony. It's like, I think you're the one who's a little bit damaged, mate. But they have their little scuffle, they have their little fight, and it's quick, it's fun. But like I say, it's the weakest part of the film. I enjoyed everything that came before that. Learning how Tony became Iron Man, and all of the character interactions that he's been having with these characters that we now going forward, like Pepper, Rhodey, even though it isn't kind of Rhodey, even though it is, and Happy Hogan, who is only really in it a few scenes, but you get the gist of it. You know, Iron Man 2 is really the one where he shines. And we also get to see Coulson a few times as well. And I actually completely forgot that Coulson was in it when I was rewatching it. I was like, oh yeah. In terms of humour, it is still a pretty funny film. They haven't quite got that, what we know of the Marvel films now. We kind of associate with that, like that Disney humour. Iron Man doesn't really have all of that. Still got its funny elements, but it's a little bit more grounded into like real life, into how people speak, how people say things. It's a little bit more like just in Tony's sass and like his wit and stuff like that, more as kind of larger than life characters and larger than life events and stuff, and like cosmic stuff, kind of baffling people and stuff like that, and like just bizarre situations. It's a little bit more real with the humor in this, and I do like it. There are still some funny little scenes, like his little robot sidekicks that he has, like the two little arms that are like the Scutters from Red Dwarf. They have some good little scenes every time they keep trying to put out the fire, even though there is no fire. Um, there's also that bit where that guy when he's in the original Iron Man suit, the guy tries to shoot him in the head and the bullet just pings back and hits him on the head. It's a little bit slapstick, but it did make me laugh. The humor's still good, apart from those really cheesy lines that Obadiah that says. Though I guess they're kind of funny in like a that's really bad and cheesy kind of way. But I think with Iron Man, that's the way I like the comedy to be. I like it to be, and he's just like he's quick wit and he's quick thinking. He's like quick bits of sass. We'll get to this when I eventually get to review Iron Man 3. With Iron Man on his own and that humour, I don't think the more silly, kind of slapsticky, larger than life humour really works with him. Whereas in this film, it is that more grounded, so that it just works more. It works more with these kind of everyday comedy. I don't really know how else to put it, but that's the kind of humour that you get in it, and I think it really works. The little bits with the robots, they're okay, but I like that more kind of just like a satirical, sassy nature of it. How does it compare to the rest of the MCU films? Well, I haven't watched this film in a long time. I think the last time I watched it was probably just before the first Avengers film came out. And going back to it today, I still really like it. Iron Man went from a character I didn't know really anything about to a character I absolutely love. That was all thanks to this film. And it was thanks to this film as well that my love of what is now the entire MCU first happened. I kept going back to this film and being like, look, it's a solid franchise. I can't wait to see what happens. You got that tiny, tiny tease at the end with Nick Fury, and that just built up so much excitement for so many years leading up to the Avengers, and it was all just thanks to this film. So, how would I rate Iron Man? I would rate Iron Man still gold loot tier. It's one of the easiest ones to go back to, especially out of phase one. We'll get to the other ones later on, but out of phase one, Iron Man is definitely one of the ones that I would happily go back and watch multiple more times. And I'm already looking forward to the next time I watch it. So yes, Iron Man is gold loot tier for me. And next is the Incredible Hulk. So yeah, that's just my thoughts and like little review and stuff on Iron Man. I'm trying to do these videos a little bit less, scripted. I'm just trying to just go off my head, relax a little bit, just more practicing talking to the camera and stuff, and just doing my thoughts. Got a lot of films to go through. Like I say, the Avengers Endgame only comes out at the end of next month, and I think there's like maybe 24, 25 films or something like that to watch. I've already done a Captain Marvel one, which I'll link somewhere up here. So I don't really need to do that one again. But I still got all of the rest to go through. I don't want to pad it out a little bit. I've got some other stuff that I need to do for other things over the upcoming weeks. I obviously got my regular video content coming out. It's still primarily a manga channel, mainly One Piece. I've got my One Piece reviews coming up every Friday or Thursdays whenever they drop, depending on whether or not how many breaks there might be over April. Probably at least going to be one coming up, I would imagine, because I've been getting quite consistent chapters recently, and I'm waiting to do a Boruto review soon. So that's still going to be I still want that to be the main focus of this channel, but obviously we've got a lot of films to cover, so I just want to do them quickly and a little bit more loose. What did you think? What do you think of the film Iron Man? How would you rate it compared to all of the MCU films? What did you think of my thoughts and what I've said about the film? Let me know in the comments below. Like and subscribe. I've been Higasin. I'll see you in the next film, which will be The Incredible Hulk. Oh God.